tribute to the one and only Assata Shakur. My bad, this might be a no-face video, but it's all about the one and only Queen Mother Assata Shakur. We lost a real one today. Yesterday, I believe it happened. I just got news today, so you know. But giving a breakdown by none other than New Breed. Hope y'all like it. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Wow.
Got some rare recordings of the activists that was named FBI most wanted on that top of that list, right? Godmother, godmother. And, you know, people be thinking that the feds, the FBI just go after hardened criminals, drug dealers. No, it's not quite like that. They go after people who have a voice. People who are for the liberation of our people. We have a long history of that. We have a long history of our revolutionaries being targeted by the feds. Different time back then.
We're going to go ahead and bring that back. My bad. Hopefully the audio a little bit better. Y'all let me know in the comments when y'all see the playback or whatever. Wow.
I just want to go ahead and to a brief remembrance of her legacy. You know what I mean? Something to really ponder on. This actually means a whole lot in the current climate of society we in today, right?
Those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
And what we're doing right now is we're pretty much remembering Assata Shakur in her own words. You know, got some rare recordings of the activists that was named FBI most wanted on that top of that list, right?
The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. We begin today's show looking at the case of Assata Shakur, a legendary figure within the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army. On Thursday, she became the first woman ever to make the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. In addition, the FBI in the state of New Jersey.
Right now, in case y'all don't know, for those who might not know who Assata Shakur is, he breaking down, he's giving it like a little briefing of who Assata Shakur was and what she was about or whatever. So just look and listen. Greatly appreciate it.
The reward for her capture to $2 million. Shakur was convicted in the May 2nd, 1973 killing of a New Jersey state trooper during
ponder on. This actually means a whole lot in the current climate of society we in today, right?
Those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
And what we're doing right now is we're pretty much remembering Assata Shakur in her own words. You know, got some rare recordings FBI most wanted on that top of that list, right?
The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. We begin today's show looking at the case of Assata Shakur, a legendary figure within the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army. On Thursday, she became the first woman ever to make the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. In addition, the FBI in the state of New Jersey docked the reward for her capture to $2 million. Shakur was convicted in the May 2nd, 1973 killing of a New Jersey state trooper during a shootout that left one of her fellow activists dead. She was shot twice by police during the incident. In 1979, she managed to escape from jail, and she later fled to Cuba, where she received political asylum. She has long proclaimed her innocence. On Thursday, FBI Special Agent Aaron Ford spoke at a press conference announcing Shakur's placement on the most wanted terrorist list. He refers to Shakur as Joanne Chesimard, her original name.
And yes, this was Tupac's grandmother, or godmother, godmother. And, you know, people be thinking that the feds, the FBI, just go after hardened criminals and drug mules and drug dealers. No, it's not quite like that. They go after people who have a voice, people who are for the liberation of our people. We have a long history of that. We have a long history of our revolutionaries being targeted by the feds.
Openly and freely in Cuba, she continues to maintain and promote her terrorist.
Alright, well, right now, get ready to skim around a little bit. That was just a little breakdown, give you an outlook of who Assata Shakur was, as far as, you know, how she came to be Assata Shakur or whatever. We're gonna go a little more deeper with that. And hold on. Pick back up right here.
And terrorism.
And see, you know, they slapping that word T-ism on there, but let's just keep it 1,000. They did the same thing to Fred Hampton, you know, that young 21-year-old man who they killed while he was in his bed sleep. All because they were speaking about liberating our people. Also, Malcolm X was on this list. Martin Luther King was on these lists. So let's not get it twisted. This woman who was falsely accused of killing that police officer when actually it was an act of self-defense because she left with 2 shots as well. And one of the people that she was with didn't make it out.
No person, no matter what his or her political or moral convictions are, is above the law. Joanne Chesimard is a domestic terrorist who murdered a law enforcement officer, execution style.
That's FBI Special Agent Aaron Ford. In a moment.
That's what they claim. But do we believe the feds in this point in time, in 2025? Do we believe him when we can't even figure out what happened in Kirk's death? When it comes to the death of Charlie Kirk, who was, a suspected white supremacist, by the way, we can't even tell what really happened in that situation. So I don't believe nothing they say about our revolutionaries. I don't believe nothing they say about our people who was, speaking about freedom. Our people who was speaking about what's going on in America, because I'm still in America. And I see the inequality. I see that.
We'll be joined by two guests, the scholar and activist Angela Davis, who faced her own murder trial decades ago, and Lennox Hine.
This clip right here gonna be a little rather long because I just wasn't going to get this part round out, but just look and listen.
Assata Shakur's longtime attorney for some 40 years. But first we turn to Assata Shakur in her own words. In 1998, Democracy Now! Aired her reading an open letter to Pope John Paul II during his trip to Cuba. She wrote the message after New Jersey state troopers sent the Pope a letter asking him to call for her extradition.
My name is Assata Shakur, and I was born and raised in the United States. I am a descendant of Africans.
This is Assata Shakur right here, y'all. Former Black Panther, Liberator. It's her right here, man. This is her letter to the Pope. Just keep it at 1,000 with him. Let him know what's really going down, what's really going on. Why they was calling for her to be brought back. This is her letter to the Pope when he was in Cuba. Look and listen.
Who was kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves. I spent my early childhood in a racist, segregated South.
I wrote the Pope a letter asking him to call for her extradition.
My name is Assata Shakur, and I was born and raised in the United States. I am a descendant of Africans who were kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves. I spent my early childhood in a racist, segregated South. I later moved to the northern part of the country, where I realized that Black people were equally victimized by racism and oppression. I grew up and became a political activist, participating in student struggles.
Now, this is a lot of irony, the fact that she passed away today. And she dealt with a lot of what was going on with student struggles. And, you see these suspected white supremacists or white Christian nationalists popping up at colleges, trying to debate, in a very sensitive time of history, they're trying to debate. And, our people are pretty much fed up. We just had a situation happen in Delta State University where a young man was hung from a tree. And they're claiming that it was self-deletion. And this happened, in Mississippi. Now, if somebody gets beat up on O Block, if somebody comes back from O Block with a black eye, it's safe to say that he got jumped, right? But if somebody is hanging from a tree in Mississippi, nobody wants to talk about that. But anyway, I say all that to say this, that this is one of our...
I later joined the Black Panther Party, an organization of...
That clip is coming to an end. This next clip is finishing off the letter to the Pope. This is Assata Shakur from a Black Panther. Just passed on yesterday. Just getting the news today. So just bring it to y'all. Bear with me. Like, share, and comment. Also, subscribe. Let me know in the comments how the audio is. Like, what I gotta do. What can I do to improve? Is it too loud? Is it too low? Is it good? Let me know, man. I appreciate that. Continue on with the letter to the Pope.
Targeted by the COINTELPRO
Exactly. They were talking about a COINTELPRO
program, a program that was set up by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to eliminate all political opposition to the U.S. government's policies. I later joined the Black Panther Party, an organization that was targeted by the COINTELPRO.
Exactly. They were talking about a COINTELPRO
program, a program that was set up by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to eliminate all political opposition to the U.S. government's policies, to destroy the Black liberation movement in the United States.
Yes, because they didn't want us to be liberated. J. Edgar Hoover was the one who sicked his dogs. Yes, this New York native made it out. Yeah, they infiltrated us. They shoved drugs into our community. They put a lot of systemic racism in place around this time. Why? Because they was afraid of us actually rising up. Imagine this. The Panthers only had about what? Around 20, 30 chapters. Here you got Turning Point USA with thousands of chapters. And these people are touting Nazi speeches, having modern day Klan rallies. America First, that was a Klan organization. But they were so afraid of some young men and young women who were setting up food drives, breakfast programs, setting up stoplights, trying their best to police their own community. They saw that as a threat. Oh, they saw that as a threat. Yeah, she was labeled a fugitive from the law for killing a New Jersey State Police trooper. Yeah, that's true. But I don't believe it. I believe it was self-defense. Yeah, it was self-defense. And I don't believe nothing that the feds put out. Right now, as we speak, the feds is all over the place when it comes to Charlie Kirk's death. Y'all don't even believe the feds. The feds, they the ones who kicked down the door and killed Fred Hampton. Narrow Path, thank you for the support. Says keep doing it.
All right, that was just a further briefing of Assata Shakur and her being the Queen Mother being part of the Black Panther Party or whatever. What they was really about, what they was getting themselves into, standing on what they stood on, which is just, just plain keep it simple with you, liberation of the people, whatever. So, just pretty much, it wasn't even about, and of course it's about us, because we was being number one target, but it's more like just fighting against like the powers that be, and like stop trying to, stop having them have so much control over people. And so that's what they did, and when they seen people being a threat to them, like, for what the Panthers is known for, that seemed like a threat to the power system, because you could potentially overthrow the government with that's, well, I guess with being that type of threat or whatever. So they were hunted, they was all type of things. It's gonna get discussed in here. I got about 4-5 more clips, 3 to 4 minutes. Just hang in there, make a listen, get some histories, a little history class, right? I ain't no historian or nothing, but we gonna show love where love needs to be shown.
To eliminate the Plato leaders. Under the COINTELPRO program,
Look it up, COINTELPRO.
many political activists were harassed, imprisoned, murdered, or otherwise neutralized.
Yep, and that's what they did. That's Fred Hampton right there. Who so notoriously said, you can kill the revolution, but you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. That's right. And see, I'm going to tell you, these damn suspected white supremacists and racists and neo-Nazis that show up in the chat, listen, I'm going to tell you, they mad we still here. They mad that we still even know this history. They mad that we still even talking about this and actually acknowledging those that was before us that put in the work. Because we still fight. We still here. Their legacy didn't die off. They want to they want y'all to believe we were just straight up thugs and gangsters and drug dealers. No. These young men and women, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, spearheading whole movements, spearheading whole civil rights movements. That was out there bold. These were heroes that was fighting for a righteous cause, fighting for morality, not like a Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a divisive little twint that had millions of dollars handed to him by the time he was 19. Charlie Kirk was a 31-year-old man going to college campuses, picking on college students. No, these people was really fighting for freedom, for justice and equality, and fighting just to have their self-sufficiency. Listen, they know they had to compare Charlie Kirk to Martin Luther King for a reason. Because they know Martin Luther King had a righteous fight. They know he had a righteous cause. They did that comparison because they couldn't have done it. Listen, they already know who was really fighting for morality and justice.
As a result of being targeted by trial or death, the FBI, with the help of local police